You want prizes? We've got free prizes. You want cash? We've got lots of cash. Simply download Bashani Radio app. Allow push notifications and listen for your chance to win loads of cash. Please don't tell our CEO it's his money we're giving away. We won't tell if you won't tell. Bashani Radio app. Download it for free in the App Store.
HurricaneRadio.com, certified #1 digital talk radio station in the world. The power of women.
Welcome everybody to Situations with Sassy. I am your host, Sassy Scribe, where I bring you the very best in love, sex, and dating. And I want to thank you for continuing to tune in, stream, and download Situations with Sassy here on Verke Radio, New York City, and worldwide on the top 3 podcasting platforms, that is iHeart, iTunes, and Spotify, and any other place that you listen to your podcast. Don't forget, Situations with Sassy can also be heard on our app, that is Bashani Radio. You can download it from the Google Play Store or your iTunes Store. And I am kicking off season 17 with an absolute bang. This young lady is a returning guest. She is an amazing spirit. I really, really enjoy talking to her, not only online, but offline as well, because we're kind of simpatico when it comes to certain things. But today we're going to talk about owning your WAP. And I'm kind of like in two minds about it. Do I want to call it What That WAP Do or owning your WAP? But we're going to discuss how butthurt Black men appear to be, how women can't own their sexuality. And with that said, I want to bring back Miss Taja Ricketts of Satin, which is a sexual health and wellness brand. So welcome, Taja.
Thank you.
So tell the audience once again, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay. Again, I'm the owner of Satin Kiss. So Satin Kiss is a sexual health and pleasure lifestyle brand. We have an online store selling sexual health and pleasure products that are all body safe. I do one-on-one and couples coaching and consulting and workshops, as well as fun and educational toy parties. So yeah, it's been going for a couple of years now, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm glad you have me on talking about this for this particular topic, because this is what I do. Like I'm very vocal about, women owning their sexuality unabashedly, especially Black women, because we get it coming from different directions. But
yes, we do.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, let's do all the whole shit. Like, we're gonna get into all of that.
Yes, and I am going to make a disclaimer that the views, thoughts, and opinions of Situations with Sassy and her guest are not that of Bashani Media International, Verke Radio, or Bashani Radio, its affiliates and or assigns. I need to make that. Also, this is going to be a little explicit, so you guys, if you're listening with the kiddies, it's time to tune out now. You can come back to us later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, first of all, let me say, I like the intro anyway, because I remember when the intro hook, Some Hoes in This House, came out years ago.
About to go down.
Yes, I mean, it's like, I like songs like it. It's like the booty drop songs, like Drop It Low. It's something about Chris Brown singing the Drop It Low, and then Lil Weezy coming back, I only go down if you keep the grass cut. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. I love those songs. Even I hate to say it, but I'm not gonna mention his name. But I'm, effing you tonight with Biggie. It's that song. That's my song. I like the drop. I like the beat. I like the hook. I like the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Black woman who is sexually healthy and very much aware, because even the other stigma to this is that I'm a plus size woman, and plus size women aren't supposed to be able to enjoy sex. We're not flexible. We don't last. All these different things that, these stereotypes that they have out there. Then you couple that with the hypersexualization that, just this society alone since slavery has had, related to Black women.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, a gentleman, a friend of mine, and we were talking about, remember the Duke University scandal?
Was this the one with the blog?
Okay,
Wait,
so
what happened with this one? I can't remember.
I don't know if it was I think it was the lacrosse team hired strippers and they were black. And one of the
Um,
girls said that she was raped. So we
um,
got into this debate
I remember
because I
that.
said there is a point. I don't care how knee deep into the stroke you may be. And I know it's going to be very hard, but if she says stop, if she says no, don't, please stop, then that's what you need to do. And
Right.
we got into the conversation, got a little heated because I said that is the mindset of white men. And it's a subconscious mindset for some, but it's conscious for others.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at Duke University, which is a top tier school, first of
Mm-hmm.
all. If you're
Yeah.
playing lacrosse, usually the families have money because lacrosse is not a cheap sport to play.
Right.
It's kind of an elite sport, almost like polo.
Right.
And so when you get these young black girls who were putting themselves through school, that's the
Mm-hmm.
point, that they were putting themselves through school, even if they weren't, even if their profession was that of a professional dancer, they
Mm-hmm.
still deserve the respect.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't get it because the mindset of these young men were that I paid for you,
You do what I want you to.
you do what I
Like
want you to.
the sense of ownership, which
Hey,
again, that's another thing. It's just, do we own our own bodies? Because for literally centuries in this country, we did not own our own bodies. We were made to breed with other black men. We were raped by the
white slave owners.
by white slave owners. So and then and then like you said, just with the ideas of, oh, they're hypersexualized. No, we're not. But somehow this idea came about that, black people are these hypersexual, just ready to have sex with anybody all the time. It's like, no, you guys were ready to have sex with us
Right.
anytime. So it just became like a thing. But I think now it's morphed into this struggle of, trying, in any case, like people have tried to control when we have sex, what that means for us, what that looks like for us.
Mhm.
On one hand, it's like, yes, be hypersexual, be this whore that I can control and
Manipulate and
do all these
control.
things and disrespect, but then also be a woman of virtue. And it's like, wait a minute, whoa, hold on, what, how does this work? How I don't understand it. We have multiple layers of um, the racial aspect, but then also the patriarchal aspect of when it, like, that intersect when it comes to our sexuality as black women. So it's
Mhm.
extra hard trying to navigate that. So I mean, even with my clients, like there are so many women that are just that will say that um, they have a hard time accessing that part of themselves where they're allowed to feel free and
Sex.
enjoy sex for sex sake, like just to be able to say, like, yeah, I like having sex and I like having sex with multiple people or whoever I choose. There's still this idea that, oh, I have a body, I have a body count, I can't have sex with that guy over there or whoever. It's like, well, I like him, but I want to hold out because I don't want to add another person on my body count and I don't want him to judge me. I'm like, um
That
are you
that
attracted to
last
them? Do you
that
have a vibe? Are you okay? If you want to have sex with them, have sex with them. Like, because that's your body and that's your choice. It's fine. Like, we need to take back our ownership over our own sexuality, which is what I'm glad Cardi and Meg put that song out.
Oh my God.
They were
It
just like,
reminds me of being in the valley where the girls get naked. You know how you want to drop it when that come on, I just jump up off the couch and just start dancing. And I'm 53. I'm not, first of all, I'm 53.
mm-hmm.
I'm not even supposed to feel that type of thing because that's for young girls.
Right, that whole
That's for
idea of
young
like,
girls. And even, my great nephews and nieces were like, oh my God, I can't believe you listened to that song. I said, I love it. I absolutely.
mm-hmm.
I love the show. I love the song. But I like I said, with Drop It Low and then and this Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, I don't see anything shameless about it. I don't see anything disappointing about it. It's not the first. I mean, Little Kim came out with Suck My D back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was more about her encounters that she had within the hip hop industry, within the music industry.
Right.
So people don't listen and people don't understand. Cardi has been Cardi. I love her for that.
Oh yeah.
She's
Mm-hmm.
when she started, And I think you and I talked about this in our last show, but when she started, she was never anybody but who she was. Tongue out, ass out, breath out. She's never been anybody different. She's always talked about sex and what she liked to do, even on the television show. Even now, she just owns who she is. She's very authentic.
Right.
And that's why she resonates and comes across very well for women of all ages, races, and colors.
Right.
Especially Black women, though. Even with Meg the Stallion.
Oh, Meg is
it is a song about a lubricated vagina. And I think I posted to one of my social media platforms that if you are upset about a WAP, it's because you don't have one or don't know how to use
it. Or have access to one.
And Black men seem to be the most upset. Now, I want to speak to the brothers real quick. And they got this attitude about, like you said, how do you have this virtuous woman and then you want to have this super nasty freak? You know? And I think that they can't seem to mesh or marry those two concepts within their mind. But when you look at brothers, what do they revere? The fat butts, the large breasts, the fake lips, the fake everything. You know, that's what they're giving tens to and thumbs up, not the natural, everyday, everybody woman. The woman with maybe no butt and gut, or maybe butt and gut, or maybe flat up and down. You know what I'm saying? They are not looking at those types of regular average women. They're looking at the Cardis and the Megs.
You know what I think, though? It's like, I think the issue is that there are extremes. So women are expected to be either one or the other. And I think sex is often taken as something that's like separate from being the whole person. So for one, it's seen as something that's dirty and wrong and like an exceptional thing, but it should be a part of who a person is in general. And a lot of men don't see it that way. It's like sex has been defined from the perspective of the penis being the center of everything. What the penis decides is important, is what matters. What the penis decides is good or virtuous or clean. That is what we will do. That's how we're going to dictate society operates, which is complete bullshit. So the idea that a woman can't be virtuous if she enjoys sex, it's like, what does that have to do with anything? Like we are given sex, like we have sex organs, like we're all born with sex organs. So use them. I mean, but there are some rare cases, but still, but it's like, use them. Women, we are the only ones. And I try to tell women this as much as possible, because I did a presentation recently, and like 70% of heterosexual women are not having orgasms. Like it's because either their partners aren't focused on that, or they're not communicating what they like. But that's a problem. It's like men don't recognize that we also are meant to enjoy pleasure. And women, the clitoris, its only purpose is pleasure. That's it.
Sole purpose.
But we're made to feel that sex is bad, it's shameful. It's like, no, like it's meant, we are biologically built to experience pleasure and for everybody to enjoy it. So go ahead and do it. So the fact that it's like sex is something separate from who a person is, or it makes somebody, you know, a person is bad or dirty. It's like, no, sex is a part of all of that. It makes a person, you know, completely whole. The same way that every person is different and has different body types and different personalities, sex can be woven into all of that, you know? So it's really frustrating when you have women that are exploring that in healthy ways, and then you have other people who are coming in and telling them, what are you doing that for? That's wrong. Like, no, leave her alone. Let her do what she wants to do.
Well, you know, when, again, everything that you said is absolutely correct. For whatever reason, they are isn't that the term, cisgender men? Well, heterosexual men.
Yeah. Cisgender means that you're the body that the sex assigned to you at birth, you identify with. Yeah.
Right. So, but they are really and truly threatened by us owning our sexuality. And I remember when it came out, a quote from CeeLo Green, he was the one that actually called it shameless and disgusting. And there was this conservative radio host who went in on he literally read the lyrics online on his show. And his wife apparently is a doctor, and she was saying that any woman who has to use a mop and a bucket it has an infection. Well, of course, that was debunked. Wow. But again, and I gotta, I'm trolling the internet just to see which, who's saying what. And it was like the majority of Black men, but I have to say that I did see a lot of, I want to say, conservative women. You talk about talking to women who, have never had an orgasm. I remember, I think it's maybe 8 years ago now, but my talk show host, with my other co-host on my TV show, we did what we called I Am a Diva Business Summit. And we talked to women about everything. And in one of those, we actually talked about sex. And like you said, there were women who had been married 20, 30, 40 years who had never experienced an orgasm and were too afraid. Girl, when they said it, I was like, my eyes kind of like, the cartoons, how they like go out your face and come back in. But I did, and when we were talking, I said, when I realized my sisters are older, and they started telling me in my 20s, when I turned 30, when I turned 40, the different things my body would experience and my mindset and all of these different things, and everything they told me was true. And once I actually took my body back and began to own it and not really give a flying F what anyone thought, I totally understood. So seeing these women in their late 30s to late 50s talk about not being sure enough of their own sexuality, not being comfortable talking to their mates for fear of shattering his ego. It's all about his ego. Not the fact that you're laying there for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long he takes it. He knows his stroke count, but you're too afraid to say anything. And having had lovers who took the time to know my body, that, oh my God. And now I demand that. I demand, you absolutely have to take the time and listen to me, where I guide your hands, your lips, and everything you need to understand that. But we don't have women that are willing to do that. So how do you talk to your clients about being open and expressing when you're not satisfied, and what corrective steps do you give them to take?
Well, first I tell them to prioritize their sexuality and their pleasure first and foremost, whether they're married or they're single. Like, figure out what it is that you want and figure out. Legit, like I'll send them the sex assessment that I have available on my site, and I'm like, okay, before we do anything, I want you to fill this out and get in touch with yourself. Like, just take a little bit of time. Like, you don't have to rush it, but like, take some time, sit with it, think about it, and really go through all the things that you absolutely like and dislike. Not what somebody thinks you should, but what you actually do like. And then it's like, all right, let's do some work around why you feel like you can't ask for this. And we go from there, because everybody has different reasons. So you have some that think that, if they speak up, that the other person's going to think that they're promiscuous, or then, like you said, the whole ego thing. They're like, well, what if, they think that I'm insulting them by giving them direction? So I usually, try to approach it depending on what the response is. But if it's the idea that, you're going to hurt his ego, it's going to have to get hurt. Like, if it's the type of person, if it's the type of person that his ego does get hurt, do you really want him having access to your body? Like, if he doesn't know how to take direction, if he doesn't care about you or doesn't care about what you have to say, then he's probably not. That's not the person for you. If it's somebody that you're married to, then that's something that you're probably gonna have to work out. Not even probably. It's something you should probably work out with, a marriage counselor, and get to the root of those issues. And I mean, in some situations, like, it's okay if you realize that you shouldn't be together. That's fine. In any case, go find whatever it is that you want, because it is out there. It exists. Whoever is meant for you is meant for you. Go get that. But don't put your own pleasure second because of what somebody else thinks, or just having conversations with your partners about. So that was another thing. So after you figure out what it is that you want, practice being assertive about it. And you can do like if assertiveness isn't like a thing that you're, you know, comfortable with, finding out why, where that comes from, and doing the work in your everyday life, and then allowing it to translate into the bedroom. So practicing saying what you want at work, for example. If you know that you're worth more at work, having that conversation with your managers, and then you're like, once you're like, okay, I feel a little bit more confident about that. So it's like, this is how that went. How can I translate that into my sex life? Like telling somebody, like, I know what my worth is, I know what I want, I know what I need. Here's how I can translate that to you, and how I can communicate that with you and feel good about it and not feel threatened by it. Because if you can say that to somebody who's kind of holding your livelihood in their hands, you can
Right.
definitely say it to somebody who's going to be handling your body. And especially more so, I think, you know, where your body is concerned, that's what you're walking around with every day. That's your lived experience. Like, you only get one body. You can get another job, but being
You know what? You can get another job and you can get another man.
exactly, or woman, or whoever you're
Right, or
experiencing.
whoever.
Yeah, so it's like, but in any case, like, you have to be able to tell the other person, no matter how they feel, this is what I want. Because what about what you feel? Why does it have to always be about what they feel? And men are going to have to just deal, like, again, the penis can't be the center of the universe when it comes to sex. Like, that model's outdated. Okay, like, we need to do away with it. So women have to get comfortable with saying, this is what I want. And if it turns into a blow up from him, then it's like, okay, well, he ain't the one.
He
He
ain't the
ain't for
one.
you. Like, it is what it is. Or if he thinks, oh well, that means that you're this person. All right, well, you can get out. Bye. Because guess what? There's gonna be somebody else. Like, not every guy is especially in my
Selfish.
experience. Like, not every man is gonna be looking at you like, so how many men you? So first of all, if they ask you that, then that's none of their business. But not every man is gonna be looking at you thinking, well, how many men have you slept with? I want to be the one to conquer you. No. No. First of all, they need to stop thinking like that. But secondly, if they are, like, so what? Not every man is thinking that way. Find the ones that aren't.
You know, I had an ex who thought like that. He used to say things like, hence he's an ex, but he used to say things like, how many men have you kissed? Or no, because you done had this and you done that. I'm like, well, are they making virgins anymore? Like, explain that to me. First of all, he was younger than me. So, you know, if I've been sexually active at a young age and I'm 53, you do the math.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You do the math. And if that bothered you, then when we had our first couple of conversations, I explained explicitly what I would do to you. Day one.
Yeah.
Because he was tall and I like him tall, like
Climb
all
the
that other stuff. But it was just something about him that it just, you know, when they talk about what that WAP do, made the WAP flip. But he was, as good looking as he wasn't very knowledgeable.
Okay.
And I felt like I had to do a lot of teaching, a little too much teaching. And then the student wasn't very willing.
Okay.
When it came to taking his lessons.
Yeah, the student has
to
be.
But it's again having that conversation, you know. And I used to say that I'm a very touchy-feely person. I'm a very open and expressive person, and I know what I want and how I want it, and I'm not afraid. I'm just absolutely not afraid to say that. And I think that in this day and age, especially once WAP came out, and even before then, I mean, it can go all the way back to the Bible, how they painted Eve as this temptress of men by biting into the apple, you know? So,
like, it's powerful, yeah. Or just women in general, like, our sexual power is it's a very potent thing. Like, we can manifest through our own orgasm. We can do all kinds of things. We give life through, you know, we have sex and life comes through that. So it's like, it's something that men have been trying to downplay and own and beat into the ground for millennia. And I think it's because they know that it's so powerful. You know, it's like the things that we're able to do, they're like, oh, that's terrifying. let's not empower that. But look what happens when you empower women. Entire villages are fed. Entire countries. I mean, look at the difference between how America handled COVID and how New Zealand handled COVID.
And a woman is running New Zealand.
Right. Most of the countries led by women are doing fine when it comes to the COVID crisis,
Mm-hmm.
because we're natural leaders, and we lead with empathy and in a lot of different attributes that men oftentimes see as weaknesses, and
Yeah.
so they just do things ass backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that recognizing the power that we have, it's just constantly been a thing where it's like, okay, no, that can't possibly thrive. When somebody's insecure about something, they'll go out of their way to destroy what it is that they're insecure about. And somewhere along the line, men felt that I'm terrified of the power that these women have, the potential that they have to lead and make change, and I don't like it, and it makes me feel bad about myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and step all over that. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna go ahead and crush their spirits. And it's absolutely time that, I mean, we've seen over the last couple centuries, just globally, women starting to take that power back. So when you have women like Cardi and Meg, who are well-rounded people,
Yes.
talking about, okay, I'm going to take back my sexuality. What are you going to do about it? Like
It's
you
really,
can't shame me about it
it's,
anymore.
it's not a damn thing they can do about it. And if you're uncomfortable with the words that are coming out of their mouth, then you really need to look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Every single word of that song, I love.
Mm-hmm.
Every single word of that song, I'm like, every time I hear it, I'm like, yes, girls, speak it.
Right.
Speak it. Because there's nothing wrong with communicating your sexual desires. But we have men and women on both sides of
Mm-hmm.
this conversation who they are bound and determined to take
Mm-hmm.
our body autonomy away from us. They're
Right.
absolutely, and we can look at Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
We can look at that. We can look at the Supreme Court nomination that they want to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole premise is that women shouldn't be allowed to have to make certain decisions. And you want to protect your rights while denying me mine. That's a whole nother show. But it's
Mm-hmm.
things that we have to look at every day. We don't have the right to our bodies. We absolutely do not. But listen, we are running out of time. I want to thank you
Thank you.
for coming back. So let's give us a final thought, a final message that you want to give the women. Share with the world where they can find you and any of your social media handles.
Okay. My last thing that I want to share, there's so much, because this conversation could go on for another hour.
We can do part two.
Okay, let's do a part two, because
Okay.
because we haven't even talked about like how the sexual violence, especially like against the judgment, and how pick-me's and other women have become weaponized against other women, have been complicit in this whole issue that a lot of Black men have. Yeah. So
Yeah, we can do a part two.
yeah. So okay. So I guess I would leave it with, forget what anybody else has to say. If we're talking about celebrating our WAP, like, own it. Okay. Like, make sure that you are healthy and whole as a person. Whatever sex looks like for you, be happy about that, and forget what anybody else has to say about it. Forget what anybody else wants. Go for what you want first. Celebrate who you are as a whole person, whether you have a degree or you don't, whether you have a fat ass or you don't. Whatever it is, you are worthy of a healthy, happy sexual experience. So only go after that. Only go after what it is that you want.
And where can they find you? Your social media handles?
Oh, yes.
Websites?
So the website, yes. The website is satinkiss.me. You could also, and it's all, the social media handle for Instagram is the same thing. So at satinkiss.me. Twitter, satinkissme, and also on Facebook, satinkiss.
And again, you are a sexual wellness and health pleasure coach.
So yeah, I call myself a pleasure curator.
Pleasure curator.
Yes. Also, I just so there's a YouTube channel now. So I recently did a series on anal sex 101. So talking about like dispelling some myths, and talking about like getting prepared and the anatomy of everything and hygiene and the proper toys and using the proper lube and all that other stuff. So it's like a full 101 covering all the things. So I'm going to be putting out a lot more content in the future. So that's another place to access Satin Kiss and all the really cool things we have going on.
Well, listen, that is it for this edition of Situations with Sassy. I want to thank you once again, Taja, for coming on and sharing your jewels of wisdom. And we would definitely have you back. Remember, you can follow Situations with Sassy at Sassy Scribe on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. Don't forget Charlotte, North Carolina, and New Orleans, Louisiana, that you can watch myself and my co-hosts, April J. and Miss Pretty, every Saturday on the CW affiliates. Check your local listing. And coming in November of this year, we will be in the Miami area, also on the CW affiliate. So remember to live every moment, laugh every day, and love beyond words. And until then, I will see you in a week.